warm welcome to all of you for the first Road to TGS webinar. This is a series which TiE Bangalore is hosting with NuVentures, and I am Ritu Sharma. I'm the Executive Director for the TiE Bangalore chapter. Very, very excited to be here. Many of you all will ask me what TGS is all about. So TGS basically is the TiE Global Summit that is happening this December. 9th, 10th, 11th is in Bangalore, 12th is in Mysore. And we would love to take this opportunity to invite all of you all to be there and to witness and celebrate, to witness the celebration of the largest entrepreneurial festivals, I should say, more than a conference or a convention. A little bit on the TiE Global Summit. The TiE Global Summit is one of the biggest entrepreneurship event. And as a run-up to TGS, TiE Bangalore and NuVentures will bring out a series of webinars on key topics on entrepreneurship in India and globally. The aim for this webinar is to share the founders' journeys and VC experiences to help first-time entrepreneurs make better decisions on starting up, identifying key areas to build in, going to market, and finding their PMF, etc. The webinars will be linked to the TiE Global Summit theme, Putting Entrepreneurship First, which aims to create an inclusive entrepreneurial ecosystem. We will bring together global leaders, entrepreneurs, investors, and policymakers to discuss and engage on key developments and issues across sectors with the idea to help entrepreneurs better understand the journey and the challenges. And on that note, I now will hand it over to Venk Krishnan, the founder of NuVentures, a seed stage fund with 4 unicorns under its belt. Venk is also founder and CEO of NuWare, a financial services company focused on, I'm so sorry, I have read this wrong, a financial services focused IT company based in the US. On that note, over to you, Venk, to get this evening started.
Thanks, Ritu. Appreciate it. So as Ritu mentioned, this is the first webinar in the series. We have some 3 more webinars coming your way because as a road to TGS, we want to make sure that Indian entrepreneurs are getting a lot of insight into how, VCs and successful entrepreneurs have done this before. And the topic for today's discussion is taking Indian companies global. And we have the top voices from SaaS space to discuss key points and answer your queries, and you can drop in your questions in the chat. We hope to take all the questions or as many questions as possible. And so without taking much time, let me introduce the speakers. Shekhar Kirani of Accel. He needs no introduction. He is known for taking Freshworks public in the US and backed several other successful SaaS companies such as ChargeBee, Zenoti, and many others, right? And we have also with us Joydeep Bhattacharya of Canaan, one of the premier venture capital companies in the US. Joydeep has also backed global SaaS companies, not just from India, but other countries such as Israel. He has many big Israeli companies in his portfolio, including Snipe, AIM Security, Sinomi, etc. And we have one of Accel's and Canon's portfolio founder, Krishna Depura, CEO of Mindtickle as well. Mindtickle has been a category leader in the sales enablement space and is also a unicorn. So let's begin. Let me start with Krishna. Krishna, the question I have is, when you started Mindtickle, you were first selling in India, right?
Right.
Then you pivoted to the sales readiness space. You realized the market was outside India, right? Mainly in the US. Tell us about that journey and what market pivot and how you broke into the US market. Over to you, Krishna.
Sure. Hey, first of all, thank you, Venk, and thank you, TGS, for giving us this opportunity. So, hello, everyone. So, I think, when I when I look back, I think we started Mindtickle in 2011. And that time, SaaS was not popular, and especially SaaS in India was still coming up, like, right? There were a handful of companies. There was just like Freshworks, ChargeBee, Mindtickle, and a few more. So we were trying to figure out what is the what is the sweet spot that we have. So we come from a little bit different background because it's not like we started in sales enablement, like, right? So we initially started in a space which was very different, where one of our forte was that how do you create very engaging experiences for companies using software? And that's how we started. And by default, we started working with some of the largest MNCs in India. So India was a market, but we, for whatever reasons, we started working with some of the large enterprises. So we had some experience of working in large enterprises in India. And then we worked on it and iterated and tried to figure out and pivot to trying to, like, always, like, as everybody says, like, right, we were more of a vitamin, and we were trying to find out, can you become a painkiller? So first 3-4 years, because there were like not many companies or not many experiences that we knew, we were experimenting a lot. So we experimented a lot in changing the value prop that we were bringing, talking to different leaders. One of the advantage we got was we did a pretty good job in some of the Indian MNCs. Like we had Yahoo, Walmart, HP, some of these SAP India entities. So these entities, because we were able to do a great job and the product was global, we were able to get some exposure to global counterparts. We entered in some of their BUs, and we were able to then go and work in some of their US, China, or European counterparts. So that at least gave us some initial exposure of how you can go global. But one important thing, then we started identifying that while working in India, the value realization and the kind of things that you could, like, the ROI that you could get out from India, and compared to like in outside India, it was much different. Like you were able to generate a much higher per user per month, or like the typical subscription revenue. So that is where, like, after 2-3 years, by experimenting a lot, and we start doing all the things. Like that time it was inbound was popular, so we tried inbound, we tried outbound, we did all those things. And then we also leveraged a lot of our network. Like, so there's this product conclave that happens in Bangalore, like, right? So we were able to meet and visit a lot of senior leaders. And again, like that time we were Accel portfolio company. So we happened to visit some of the Accel global community. And I was fortunate to meet some of the largest company of that time, like, right, Cloudera, or some of the Qualtrics, which were Accel funded. So that gave us a good opportunity to meet the CEOs of global startups that time. Like they were startups at that point in time. So we started then figuring out and tried to pitch Mindtickle as a company which is solving a global problem, because pretty soon we realized that the problem we are solving, the ROI that we can get out of US will be large. And we were not really expert at inbound. Our entire DNA was more of outbound and selling it to like larger enterprises, because that is what we had done for 3-4 years. We were really good at managing these large enterprises. And so with that, I think, and we were constantly experimenting. Like our value proposition will change almost every 6 months, like, right, literally changing, because we're still trying to find our feet. So in 2015-16, I think we got a lucky break, because we started figuring out that there's a better space in sales training. We started identifying, and so we were lucky to get a product that time. And then this Accel conference also just happened. So we suddenly took a product where we were went and talked to all the CEOs, like, hey, you guys have got your Series C, Series D, but how are you going to scale? Like for scaling, you will need to improve your sales onboarding experience. So suddenly we were able to find a value prop that every CEO was interested in, every board member was interested in. And there was a very clear value that we were able to bring that time, that, okay, if you are ramping your people, you have no idea. We can, through a category, running through these programs, and systematically, we can actually give you visibility and try to bring it down from whatever 9 months to 6 months, 3 months. So there was a very clear ROI. And with that value pitch, and we figured out the segment. The segment was Series C, Series D startup in US. And the pitch once and twice, and then it was a rinse and repeat. So that was like the starting model, where we were able to land in US, and we suddenly figured out a product market fit. It was a Series C, Series D company, which was growing fast. Talk to the CEO, get an introduction to CRO. Value pitch was simple, and land in. And that is how we were able to globally get into that. So that is how we got into US. And then again, I think I'll just keep my answer short, but then again, I think we did not stop there, because then pretty soon we realized that the sales onboarding was a very small piece in the entire landscape. And then we were constantly figuring out that, okay, what is next? What is next? We were able to imagine what will happen in 6 months, like how the sales productivity will change, what are the tools that are required. So then by working with, we made all these fast growing startup companies. We had AppDynamics, Nutanix, Cloudera, Couchbase, MongoDB, you name it, we had it. So we were lucky to make them a design partner, and obviously many of these companies became very successful. So we were able to see how these companies were growing. Their companies grew into thousands of salespeople. So we were able to leverage and iterate on that. And after that, obviously, we started reaching out and made it big in enterprise. But yeah, that was the story where how things happened.
Great, great story, Krishna. Because I think you are one of the category leaders in the space. I don't know if you're still the category leader, but I think you are recognized as a category leader in the sales enablement space. Okay, so let me come to Shekhar. Shekhar, whilst Mindtickle came in early in the sales enablement space or sales enablement category and was able to become a category builder, there have been several fast followers, right? Freshworks, which is one of them. But Shekhar, what are the challenges to be a fast follower versus a category creator? What is your advice?
Yeah,
Shekhar?
so great question. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening. Lots of people have dialed across. Great to be kind of interacting with everybody. So I want to summarize what Krishna said. That is a big takeaway, because there are a ton of people who have dialed in who are first-time founders. Nobody gets it right. That is what you have to understand. What he had, what I call is sense of experimentation. If you don't experiment, you are constantly iterating your pitch. It didn't change from his first product to second product to third product. Iterations, pitch. The product is somewhat similar, but constantly pitching the value proposition. The day they got the value proposition right, when CEO said, aha, I need to scale, I just have to raise money. And if I have to scale, I have to hire lots of salespeople. Here is a product that fits and enables me to scale. That is the PMF. Then is actually building the product, listening to customers and getting that done, getting few customers and so on. Everybody has to look for that. So that is what I call as a phenomenal category creation cycle with outbound going on. Okay, switching the question, Venk, to the fast follower. See, the fast follower is a different game compared to a category creation. In a fast follower category, you need to know that there is enough internet search volume in a well-defined category. If it is an ill-defined category, and you don't have enough search volume, then you're already naturally disadvantaged to move customers away from the current set of potential leaders to your side. So the first thing is there has to be enough search volume. And second is you need to get into the consideration list. Well-defined category, enough search volume, consideration list. Now the crux comes. Now you are in the consideration list. I'm looking for a CRM. You are one more CRM along with all the others. People are considering you. How do you convert them? This is where what I call as the multiple X value you have to demonstrate. In fact, very early days, in the case of Freshworks, we used to say 2x the features at half the cost. Can we show 2x the features at half the cost? Means 4x value. Any customer who comes to the website, they should see a phenomenally well-constructed product, liberal set of features, low prices, low friction, easy to enter. Then we expand. That gave the momentum. And that was the crux of the fast followers. There are a lot of fast follower companies. But if the delta between the current set of products to the fast follower company, the delta is very less, nothing you can do. It won't move. So the brand always wins. If you want to disrupt the brand, you have to offer something extraordinary, something disruptive, a value proposition that is hard to refuse. That is the key for fast followers. Thank you.
So you are saying PLG is a way for players like for most fast followers?
I think fast followers, could be like, say, if it's a large enterprise company and I'm a fast follower, and if the large enterprise is operating in an ill-defined category, then there may not be search volume. Then you have to do outbound, which means you have to spend money, you have to raise a lot of money and fight the battle, even you have the world's best product. So the easier ones are where there is a search volume, existing players are not innovating, and you have a phenomenally better product. That's a perfect storm. I would take advantage of it. But if you say, hey, I also want to fight off an existing player who is world class, say HubSpot CRM, and you say, I'm going to build a better than HubSpot CRM, you better show 4x difference. If you can't show 4x difference, there is no chance for you to kind of disrupt.
Great, great. Okay, thanks, Shekhar. Let me come down to Joydeep. Joydeep, we may, maybe we can take a step back to look at what the current scenarios are in the enterprise SaaS space, right? Especially with AI, especially because over the past few years, enterprises have been cutting costs, cutting their budgets for new products. And there is a growing use of AI. Right now, most SaaS companies, do they need to integrate AI or are they integrating AI? What do you think, Joydeep?
Yeah, absolutely. And thank you, Venk, for having me here. Thank you, TiE, for the invite. Really looking forward to the TiE Global Summit. And good morning, good afternoon, good evening to everyone who has joined. Before I answer that question, I want to make one point regarding what Krishna and Shekhar both said. Couldn't agree with both of them more. The one thing that I would point out is that there is a difference in the founder attitude / location / tactical thing of how to do it in early days in a fast follower versus a category leader. So in a fast follower, you can really, what you're trying to do is you're trying to take advantage of the India cost arbitrage, right? So you're actually going to create more of your operations and go to markets potentially in India. In a category leader, that is not going to work. So the thing that Krishna was mentioning about doing experiments with the Indian customers, although it works early, but you have to very, very quickly pivot to the US customers, because that's where, the US customers are the ones that really value the category leaders, and that's where you're going to be extracting maximum dollars. So you need really feet on the ground. So your go-to-market team has to be here, right? And that's what Krishna and team did as soon as they found out that that's where the opportunity was. So that's a very important distinction between a fast follower and a category leader. We should keep in mind. Going back to your question, Venk, absolutely. SaaS has changed over the last 3 years, like it has not changed in the past decade. I think there are two things going on. First, the budgets are tightening across the enterprises because of the interest rate increase and downturn, if we can call it a downturn. It's not quite a downturn in technical terms, but definitely budgets are tightening. And then the second thing that is happening is with all the buzz around AI, the buyers right now are super confused in the enterprises. The buyers are kind of thinking, hey, should I buy more in the incumbent, or should I just wait and buy some more of the AI infused new technology? So we are in a very doldrums of in terms of in our journey. So we need to figure out two different things. So on one side, what Krishna and I discuss all the time, and I talk about this to my other portfolio companies as well, the more you can make yourself a platform versus a feature, is more you can extract the value. That's what you should be trying to do right now, right? Platforms not only are stickier, right? It's very hard to rip and replace a platform, but also in today's day and age, the buyers are looking at all these different features, the a la carte cost of all these different features, add that up, and then they're looking at your platform. And if you are at a platform, you can give them a discount overall, which they really appreciate, right? So think about how to be a platform. Even if you have 2 or 3 different features, try to add a few more features, try to create that roadmap, try to become that. And then the second thing, and this is very important, in the heydays of 2020, 2021, it really did not matter how urgent the problem that you were solving was, right? Anybody and everybody could get some dollars by selling to some enterprises. Today, it's very important that you have a painkiller versus a vitamin, right? Just make triple sure whatever you are selling actually solves a real problem. And then there are real customers and a long list of customers that are ready to pay. This only you can do by what Krishna did, by talking to a lot of customers, doing a lot of experiments, and really sussing out how much is the need and how much is the urgency. And then the final thing to your question around AI, I'd advise any company trying to build on the platform of AI today, everything is shifting very quickly, right? I think we are seeing a lot of companies trying to build wrappers around different AI platforms and presenting them as a brand new technology. I don't think that's going to cut in the long term, because that's not really a defensive moat. Think about what is your defensive moat, right? And because very soon AI, or it's already starting to happening, AI technology itself is getting disrupted and democratized, right? It's going to be very, very commoditized. Anybody and everybody will have access to AI. So just having an AI wrapper is not going to be enough. What you really want is a moat around either data or networks. These are the most common moats. There could be others, but these are the most common moats that I have come across. So I would really urge people to think around how can you create these kinds of moats around data and network, which really adds value to your company as you're building something.
Great.
Hey, Joydeep, quick question.
Yeah.
See, most of the startups, if you look at the life cycle of startups, they are early, small teams. They can only do features. The platform requires significant engineering capacity. They have to raise. It's a chicken and egg problem for most of the startups. Most of the ones that started in 19, 18, 20, before 21, some of the culprits are you and I as well. We funded probably 10,000 plus feature-based SaaS companies across the globe. Every VC has funded, right? And proliferation. Everybody was buying feature by feature. And they were okay to integrate. Then integration platforms showed up to integrate all SaaS products. That kind of proliferated. So it was a kind of a phenomenal, every enterprise is buying, every SaaS company is selling, life was good. Then they woke up, buyers woke up, and they said, no, I don't want to be like 150, like average used to be 150 to 200 SaaS products in a company. A 500 employee company, 200 SaaS products. People are consolidating to 50. Now when people are starting feature to platform, that's a tough journey. So any early thoughts of like, what can they do? Is there a sneaky way to get into companies as a feature and right? That's something to kind of will be very helpful for people.
Yeah,
I think that's a great question. And maybe Krishna can add here as well, because when I was investing in Mindtickle had 2 or 3 really good features, I'd still call at the time. But what was really interesting was that Krishna had this spider chart, right, of where and how you kind of go from here. And that's the roadmap. And I would really encourage people to kind of do those kinds of spider charts across different access and see where is the market, where is the TAM, and how can you expand in the future, even if you don't do it right now. Because this is, at the end of the day, the way startups work, for better or for worse. It's like a game of chess, right? If you don't plan like 5 moves ahead of you, you are kind of like already submitted to your fate. So you would try to be in control of your destiny as much as you can by thinking as much ahead as you can. And then there's always going to be unknowns. But the more you can think through and create all these kind of frameworks on your mind is very helpful in my mind. And I try to look for that. Like when I'm doing a Series A or a Series B of a cross-border company, that's what I'm trying to look for. Like sit down and think about what the next 3 to 4 years is going to look like.
Yeah.
Krishna,
Great.
anything to add there?
Yeah.
Yeah, no, I think like already most of the points you have covered. But I think if I were to, and I think I might, one of my thought process here is that sometimes when there is a fundamental shift which is happening, then if you are early, you cannot, if you cannot make the entire, as Joydeep is saying, that we always had that larger vision, but then at the starting point, what you can do is you can ride the wave. So what I mean by that is, like in 2008 or 9, like the cloud wave was coming. So one of the biggest thing was like, you cannot compete on-prem, but you came out with something which was cloud. So companies will give you a leeway because you could differentiate, like, oh, you have on-prem, but I'm giving you this thing for cloud, so that it give you something differentiate. I think in today's world, I think as like AI is becoming commodity, but the advantage is like you don't solve the problems remain same. So even in a large company or in a large market, if you go by solving the problem in a little bit different way, then you can again start early. Like you need to project a vision where how things will eventually change, but you cannot play the same game. So basically we are trying to change, like right now, everybody is playing soccer. So, and everybody's now, you cannot play against Messi, but maybe you can go and create a hockey game, which is not like that popular right now because it's just emerging. So my thought process there is like, if you are going in a game, then can you use AI not for the heck of it, but you can completely change the workflow, which can be small, but fundamentally the existing companies or platforms cannot provide that differential value that Shekhar was saying, 4x or something. But that's how you start. But as Joydeep was mentioning, like, because the market, and again, like when I started in 2011, honestly, like there were not so many startups. Today, like, there are so many startups. So whatever market you will get into, it will get crowded very fast. So that is where that longer term vision is also equally important, because you might survive for 6 months, but if your feature is really good, somebody will copy in 3 months. Again, like obviously it depends on your execution, but that's where it's a combination of like, how do you use an entry point, but how do you also have a larger vision? So it's a balance.
Yeah, Krishna, I would like to take you up on the continue on that. How do you see the SaaS category evolving? Especially in a space like sales enablement, right? Is there more competition due to AI? And what are large enterprises looking for today versus, let's say, when you were starting to do it, right? It's more challenging today. So is AI creating more competition?
So I think, again, the answer pretty much like remains the same. One is, sorry, the enterprises are looking for a consolidation. So that is becoming clear. That is a combination of multiple things, which like Shekhar and Joydeep also mentioned. Like people woke up, like even my company, we have more than 200 applications, and I'm just trying to figure out, like, boss, what did we buy? Like, right. So I think that consolidation is a key, because it is not only the cost, but it is also the OpEx head, because you cannot handle so many things. So I think one big part that enterprises are looking is, how can you solve and help me solve the end-to-end thing, like, right? The second part, I think, which is changing is, and this again where I give analogy, is that at a initial point, like in 1920, when you initially first electricity came, it was such a big thing that electricity or transformer itself could be a big thing. Today, you use electricity is given. What is the use of electricity? Like, right? We started from like just the, your tube light and bulb to your fridge. Now we are using electricity to power your vehicles and all that. So I feel like that is the second thing which is happening. Like now technology is pervasive. Like everybody, like from the guy, like on UPI, you are selling it to a 5 rupees, vada pav, to a person who is like the CIO of the largest company. So technology is not like a aha thing, like, right? So that is given. So now what people are looking, or the large enterprises, where I'm at least saying, is that outcome or solution is the big thing. India rode the first wave, which was all about services. We are cheaper, we are better, we can provide huge manpower. Amazing companies came out, right? Then second, we came out with specific features, specific companies, or based on local India market, like, right? I think right now the third wave will be a combination, which will be like what solutions you can provide. I personally think it can be a combination of product and services or whatever it is. But can you talk about an outcome? Like when, for example, now, like I was just talking to a very senior leader in automobile industry yesterday. I was just trying to figure out. They are no longer aha by like, oh, this is AI, this, that. Like a guy, I have this problem on my shop floor. Can you solve it? I don't care. Like what your company is, what you do. If you can solve it successfully, this is my business. If you cannot, I'll find someone. So it's a very interesting thing where if we are in the third wave, where India has an amazing advantage of services, and in last 10 years, we have at least proven to the world that we can build successful products. Can we merge these two and use power of AI? Then we can really create amazing businesses. That is what I feel. But again, I don't know. This is my thought process. Would love Shekhar and
No,
Joydeep
I think
comment.
Krishna, you are hitting the nail because what I actually had an opportunity to meet with the CIO of a major financial services company, and he said the same thing to me and said, "Venk, try to solve my problems, try to solve my domain problems. Don't come and say, I can do this with this or whatever. Find out what my problems are, right, and try to solve it, right? It is you are right. We rode the wave of the IT services. Now it's a whole different market out there. So I fully appreciate what you're saying. Okay, Shekhar, let
So
me
just to close that one. See, look at the last decade of work. You buy any platform, say SAP, ServiceNow, Salesforce, Workday, NetSuite, Oracle Financial, any large platforms. Customization layer was all services. Product didn't solve the problem for people. It was product plus services to enable the workflows and get the outcome, probably taking 12 to 18 months before the value was perceived. Now, if I go with a not two-pronged, a single outcome-driven, you tell me the exact problem, where it starts, where it ends. I have a product, I have an AI-driven service layer on top of it. Go with that part. There is a far better approach. And I think the startups coming out of India have to take advantage of both service layer, product layer, and AI layer. All three you integrate and you go to the customers with a value proposition that's saying you can go live faster. And by the way, the day I deploy it actually starts working. Wherever the product is not fitting, I have a service layer and I'm continuously automating that service layer with the AI services. This value proposition is what we are seeing already. Lots of companies are excited about it. This is the new wave, which what Krishna said makes a ton of sense.
Great. And I want to be, in the interest of time, I want to branch out into another topic. Is we call ourselves Indian startups. We are the largest startup ecosystem. But what we all never talk about is Israeli companies are better in their GTM than our Indian companies, right? Now, Joydeep, from your vantage point, what do you see the difference between, because you've invested and successfully invested in Israeli companies, what do you see the difference in approach between Indian startups and Israeli startups?
Yeah, absolutely, Venk. So just as an introduction and background for everyone, Canaan is a global firm located in the US, but we do invest from US into cross-border companies, but not just out of India. We have a few portfolio companies in India, including Mindtickle, but also in other geographies like Israel, like Europe, and then we help the companies go to market in North America. And so that has given me some perspective and contrast between the kind of companies that I see across these different geographies. Overall, I think in terms of the depth of technical talent is pretty much one of the world's best in India. So we get a very good quality product built. I think where India can do better is one, just the sense of belief in the company itself and the sense of aggression. If I think about Israeli company, or they're very famous for their cybersecurity companies, when they come and pitch their company to a buyer or an investor, they're typically thinking about basically disrupting the existing market. They're thinking, again, 5 steps ahead. They're saying how the things are going to evolve in 5 years from now. So they're not solving today's problem. They're already solving 2-3 years out, which is very different from where I think about the Indian. I think the Indian founders, they're very learned, they're very conscious, but they're still, at least when I meet them in the post-seed or just about Series A stage, they're still learning and they're still absorbing all the go-to-market techniques. They're very good at product, but the go-to-market is something that they're still experimenting and figuring out. So this is something that needs to accelerate, right? For the Indian ecosystem to grow as a whole, we need to increase the time to that go-to-market chasm to increase. And I think it is going to increase with time. I think right now the density of talent in terms of go-to-market and prior experience is still building up in India, right? Israel has a advantage because they do cybersecurity quite a bit, and their network depth in cybersecurity is a lot. India does a lot more in terms of breadth. And so the density of talent is not quite there as of now, but I think it's getting there and it's getting better. So I think those are the things that we can do better and we can do faster. And once we do that, these are really going to add a lot of value, a lot of momentum to the ecosystem here.
I've never seen a founder from India who has been ahead of the curve saying that I'm spending a lot more time in the valley. Every founder I meet, it's almost always, hey, I've been tooling for last X years in India, I've got lots of customers, I'm thinking about going to the valley. Versus in Israel, before they even tooling starts, they have an idea, they're already in the US, either in New York or in Bay Area, trying to sell to the best of the best people, get the feedback, and then they start making the product work. So the connect to the customer is within the first 6 months, or first 3 to 6 months of the thought process. Whereas in India, the people always question me, hey, how can I go and pitch if I don't have a product, right? So Joydeep, we have kind of discussed this many times, that people feel uncomfortable without the product.
Right. Absolutely. I would take it one step further. They are, I mean, even before they start the company, they're going and talking to customers. So forget about the product, right? And just to talk to one of those customers, just one customer, they would get on a plane and come here, right? So that's the kind of aggression that we see. And that I think that really goes a long way, right? When you start with that kind of an idea that you are going to do no matter what, even if it is just for one customer, that takes you a long way versus kind of going and talking to 5 different Indian customers, building something that may or may not work for the North American customers. You can short circuit all of that and get here faster. And today those roads are open.
Yeah. So basically what you're saying is founders should move to the US if they're building in the SaaS space before the first year, especially if you are a category builder. Am I right?
Yeah. No, especially whether it's category or anything.
Yeah.
I would say don't have to move, just travel, meet.
Exactly. Like, I mean, just travel. No need to move.
We need to be more aggressive.
Push that moving decision 2-3 years, but I mean, you can get visas. I'm not a visa expert, of course. Don't take me in that. But I am told that you can get visas where you can travel for a few weeks at a time and come here, go back. So that it's the doors are always open.
Right. So anyway, one extra question before I go to the people who have. There are a lot of questions coming in. So one question which I think it's mainly for Joydeep and Shekhar. We have seen many VCs like Canaan and Accel play an operator role. Can you talk to us about the role of VC firms, say, in connecting to companies where there is a pain point match, especially design partnerships? Overall, how do you work with your founders to create a global playbook?
Shekhar, you want to go first?
So let me start. Yeah. So Venks, this is a very philosophically involved question. See, the role of the VC player in general, either you're a co-builder or an enabler or an investor. You can be in one of the slots and you have to change rapidly from co-builder to an enabler to, just an investor.
Right.
Because VCs cannot build the company. Founders have to build the company. That's the first thing. Anytime founders think that, okay, I don't have to sell, VCs connect and I will just go and take the meetings and sell, it's a disaster. It won't work.
No, but for the initial break,
That's what I'm saying. The first thing is we want to enable, ask questions, prioritize, open the doors here and there, but whether founders can hunt is the most important thing every VC is looking for. Every next round VCs will look for, because you can go, everybody has the network. Everybody has to go and open the network. If not, go cold call. How much hustle you all have to get first 5 design partners. That's the rule number 1. In that design partner, say you get 3, and we say, okay, maybe I will open 1 or 2 more. That is a better approach, saying that, okay, here are the 5 people, they're my friends, send an email, I will open the doors, and these are your 5 design partners. I have never seen that successfully gets completed. So that is the most important part. The second part is, how do I build a business model around these 5 people? What is the core value proposition and why I would win? See, the work with every VC I've seen, that's a role at least I'm starting to learn, is that we are always an enabler, Q&A with the founder to make the pitch sharper, make them get it right. But if they think, oh, in addition to money, VCs will enable it, I have not seen that model work. Even get some customers, it will stop. We have to get every founder to fish, help them how to fish, rather than enable, they bring fish to them. That is where I would say.
Great.
Yeah, and just to add to that, I mean, we come in right at the next stage, right? That's how we partner up with Accel typically. So when we typically meet a company, they have the first few customers, and they are then looking to scale, hire the head of sales, head of marketing, sales engineering, BDR, all of that. And so one of our main focus is, in addition to introducing to a few customers, is just help build out that machinery. So that way, one, we spend a lot of time in helping them hire, like meet those people and helping them recruit. But second, we also have a in-house COO and operating partner. And typically his role has been to on building up revenue on startups as well as public companies. For example, the person right now, he ran 400 million of public company revenue. And so he works with all the portfolio companies to go very deep and help build out all these functional areas, and then be available on an as needed basis. So it's kind of horses for the courses kind of thing, where Shekhar does the first part, then we take the second part, and then hopefully by then the company is in a good spot and ready to go fly.
Great.
So one thing I want to do correct here, when Joydeep said we'll help recruit, founders have to understand the final recruitment decision is founders. When we say help recruit, we enable the people. We help them how to interview. You talk to 10 people. We interview along with them. They're short-listed 3. Okay, we enable them. There's lots of people. Every VC firm is helping. But what I sometimes get confused, especially founders coming from India, is saying, okay, I've never hired a sales head. Can you hire for me? That's a wrong question. Can you introduce me? The best salespeople will introduce. Great. But final decision has to be made by them. This fundamental shift is what we need in Indian founders going global, because most of them, I look at all our unicorns, they have never hired CFOs, they have never hired CROs, they have never hired CMOs, but they all learned. So rule number 1 is people have to learn how to recruit with the help of amazing things globally available. That is the crux, is I would say. Same with when he said business model, getting detailed analysis, your CAC, LTV, metrics, ARPU, and gross margin to expansion, all these metrics. Every VC firm can help, but driver's seat is always founders.
Very valid. Okay, guys. So in the interest of time, I know Joydeep has to leave in about 5 to 10 minutes. So let me take some audience questions, and I'm going to read out. I got some questions here. Question number 1, I hope I'm reading out right. How can we ensure product market fit, especially when you are building in India and selling in the US? Shekhar, you want to take this?
Yeah. So typically what I recommend is when you're building in India, you build for lookalike customers of US. What I mean by that, say you're building your B2B SaaS companies is your say customers. Build with design partners of SaaS customers in India. Don't go and build for like Reliance or Tata, and then suddenly I want to go to B2B SaaS companies in the US. That is very important. So when lookalike is very important, then at least you can translate the needs and features, assuming you've already gone and assessed the market and so on. That's one. So if you find a design partner, few in India, few friendly in the US, so that you work together for both of them so that the requirements and the use cases come together. If you are building completely in isolation in India and say only after building for India, then I go there, most of the time it is too late.
Okay. Krishna, can you chime in here? Because you have been there, done that on this. Can you put in your input?
So I think here the whole idea is, I think everybody has already, like, I mean, people mentioned, you need to have the hunger. Like, you can be anywhere in the world. Today, like after COVID especially, people are comfortable getting on a Zoom call. Like even we are on a Zoom call, right? So I think wherever you are, you have to get the mental mindset out that you are in India or this or that place, like, right? Especially there's a large number of mid-market companies, like SMB to mid-market. And mid-market is a good representation. You don't need to go and hunt the direct the whale. But there are a lot of mid-market companies where you can work a combination of inbound and outbound. So you can actually start anywhere and you can still figure out, like, right? You can start reaching out to people, connect on LinkedIn. Obviously, like, I mean, the hit rate or the ratio will be like, you will have to put in a lot of effort to really find that one success. But I think you have to experiment and try. You have to reach. You have to go. And like, but it cannot be a general outreach message like, sir, can you help me or something like that, right? I mean, that won't work. You have to create a value prop. You have to do a lot of research. At Mindtickle, one of the things, again, yeah, I would like to share one thing that we did amazingly well is, and again, it's a Hindi word. So we used to have a very specific thing called Kundli. So Kundli, that Janam Kundli, right? Like, which is like when you, in India, when you get like, right? So before talking to any customer, I mean, we had actually the word in our, company that before even we talk to a customer, I will say, get the Kundli. Kundli will be anything and everything about that person, the company, what he has done, where he has gone, which school, which, anything that you can talk and connect to, or about his company or her company. So Kundli was very important to just figure out something where you can just try and hit and get the connection. So that Kundli was like, we actually hired 2 people to just build Kundlis for any prospect that came in. Like, we'll do a Kundli. The hit rate was maybe 2%, 5%, I don't know, like, right? But you have to be like very intentional. And that I was telling like 5 years back. Today, the competition is extremely high. So you have to find a way to get a connect. And so anyways, but yeah, the summary is you should not be limited by it. Just reach out who your segment is, define the ICP and try it out. If nobody is responding to anything, then you have a problem. So you better not build that product, do something else. So
yeah. Okay, guys, I have a question from London. Ajay from London is asking, I live in London and work with European and US tech companies. A key component of international expansion is being customer-oriented rather than product-focused. What level and type of marketing investment does the panel believe is required to build for success and growth? Joydeep, you want to take this?
Yeah, I mean, assuming international expansion is being defined as something outside of North America, I think, first of all, if you're talking about first building the company, and then I would not even think about international expansion beyond North America till you are at least 25 million of ARR, right? If you have a real, I mean, going back to our earlier points, if you have a real good painkiller, and if you have real nice product, America is such a large market that you will not need to go out of America to even get to like 100 million of ARR. But I think at 25 million, because the markets start maturing, there are other competitors to shut other competitors from accessing other geos, you should go to those geos at that point. So I would first kind of double down and focus on the US. Now, assuming that you have done that, you've been there at 25, then I would definitely put in all the effort. You should hire probably a regional head. That's the way that I've seen works best, where you have maybe people tend to kind of do a UK head and then rest of Europe head. For whatever reason, the one head for the whole of, because of English speaking and non-English speaking, I've not seen that work very well. So maybe you have two heads or maybe one person, but then that person, typically the way that has worked best is have that person in a more of a GM kind of a role versus just be like a head of sales, because typically this person needs to be the face of the company in a full geo, right? So think about that person as having more responsibilities than just sales, maybe some marketing, some BDR, something else. And then also think very hard about what are the channel partnerships that you are going to develop in each of these geos, because direct selling itself, while it is good, it is not the only way. And at 25 to 50 million ARR, those channels starts opening up. And if you can take advantage of those channels, a lot of the the capital outlay, you can cut down on. So keep those are the things that I would keep in mind.
Okay. I have a question from Neil. He's saying there was a mention on higher interest rates, given that the Fed will start cutting rates starting this month and more over the next few months. Would the environment improve overall in the next 6 to 9 months? Anybody, Shekhar?
Very, very, very hard to predict, right? So, it is such a complex world. And by the time any change reflects on each company's bottom line and their behavior change, resulting in CFOs becoming easier with the people to buy software tools and that translating into benefit to startups coming from India, not sure. So I wouldn't bet on any of these things. I would bet on three things. I have a world-class product. I have figured out a PMF essentially ICP, who's the buyer. And third is why now? I have a PMF of why now. If I pitch, the people say, aha, I want this product. This is, I would say, durable strategy versus anything else. You are putting your future in the hands of whoever wins in the US presidential election and their action.
Okay, good one.
Agreed.
Okay, I have another question for Shekhar. Shekhar, I believe the next focus on SaaS market in India is specific to industrial software. I think he means manufacturing, wealth tech. Any groundbreaking ideas from your Industrial 5.0 program offering SaaS plus AI layer at a global scale?
Yeah, so these are all vertical SaaS categories. Vertical SaaS, versus horizontal SaaS. There was also another question on that part. See, the vertical SaaS always wins if it is well-constructed product against horizontal products. In a category which is digitizing, the industries were never digitized. They were buying lots of machinery. Then machinery has to be run in an automated way. Some of the IoT products came in. Now we are seeing a ton of companies that is helping digitize, like observability platforms that you see in our traditional world, our digital world, that is moving into Industry 5.0, predicting when the next failures of these machinery is also coming in. Just in time supply chain with the machinery, with to ensure that high, efficiency of overall productivity output with low error rates is a phenomenal thing. So digitization of every industry is happening. And I think opportunities are opening up. People are trying to get the more out of their existing capital they have deployed in the factories. And also it's becoming hard to have a good, well-trained labor. So there is massive opportunity in Industry 5.0.
Great. Question I have from Siddharth. Any advice for selling MLOps platform Joydeep or Krishna, do you have any idea? Maybe
Right
Joydeep?
now, it's super hard. I mean, I'm not an AI expert, but that whole ecosystem went through a lot of disruptions. So it's still in a whole world of change. So I think things need to settle down a bit. I don't think it's just hard.
Yeah, it is a very crowded market, first of all. And the definition of ML ops, everybody is changing it. It is like what we say, like, sales enablement, what Krishna went through. Krishna was ahead, you are controlling it. Then there are 100 companies saying, I'm also a sales enablement. I'm also sales acceleration. Then there are 2,000 companies in that. So the noise level is very high on ML ops. So I would say I will go much narrower, deeper versus saying generically ML ops, because I don't know what it means, because there are so many options on the table.
Great. Okay, everyone, in the interest of time, I think we are almost 1 hour into the discussion. So I want to thank each of you for taking the time, especially Shekhar, Joydeep, and Krishna, for giving your valuable time. What I would have is we are going to have somebody from our team summarize some of the discussion points and send it over to all the people who have logged in. And if people have specific questions, you can send it to TiE email, and we will get it answered from the experts. Any passing thoughts, Shekhar, Joydeep, or Krishna?
See, I would say the passing comment for me is this: anytime a new wave is coming, that new wave creates extraordinary opportunities. So all the startups who are starting now, this AI wave is unbelievably positive. This will last for the next 10, 15 years, just like how companies built in 2008, 9, 10, 11, 12 for the SaaS wave. There are now hundreds of millions of dollars of revenue in India and across the globe. Same way this is happening. So instead of worrying about AI, I would absorb, I would learn, and I would make it big.
Yeah.
I couldn't agree more. It's a new wave, and like every other wave, you adopt to the wave or you sink, right? But it's a great opportunity, and I would think we should take that opportunity as the Indian startup ecosystem grows. I think this is only an opportunity to grow further. So good luck to everyone.
Thank you. Krishna?
I think if there is any time to start a company, it's right now, because I think 10 years back or 12 years back when we started, there was no ecosystem, like limited VCs. We were lucky to get Accel support, but like limited VCs, no India market, only exit option was US. Right now, everything is in your favor, whether it is talent, money, resources, local market, global market, local exit, global exit, everything is there. So you can, there's no better time. Just find your right opportunity and just go and do it. That's all.
Great. Thanks once again. Appreciate it. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, Venk,
Thank you.
for the great.
Bye.
Thank you.
Thank you. Bye.